Well, hey there, guys. It is AAPI Month, and so today we're going to have a conversation about Asian culture, specifically Korean culture, and we're just going to have a conversation today over food. And so my name is Surigao, and across the table we have Angela Kwak, and she's going to be sharing a little bit more about the Korean culture. So Angela, before we get into all the food and even just talking more about Korean culture, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you grew up, what was it like growing up in a Korean American home?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of times when people see me, they see Korean, but they don't realize I'm also American, that I was actually born in the States, and I'm the first out of my family to be born in the States. So my parents were the first one to immigrate from South Korea, and I was the first one to be born in America, which is why Korean and American. So growing up was kind of confusing because in the home we would speak Korean, eat Korean food, but then as soon as I went outside the home, it was America. So I went to school and there were a lot of non-Koreans in the school that I went to. So a lot of the times I stood out and you saw me, you saw a Korean person, Korean face, but I think people would assume that identity without recognizing that actually I prefer speaking English, and I grew up speaking English in school way more than I did in the home. And so that's, I think, a part of Korean American culture that I think people don't really realize. And having immigrant families that only speak Korean and then being outside and functioning like a normal person speaking English outside of the home was very conflicting. And so in the mission world, we would call it third culture kid. And that's exactly what I am. It's a mixture of the two and not really wholly one or the other.
Wow. So Angela, the third culture kid, is joining us today. Now, thank you seriously for sharing all of that. But we know that you brought some dishes for us today. So why don't you go ahead and introduce the first dish you brought?
Yeah, the first snack that I brought is actually I brought two snacks because I love snacks, and so the first one is called choco pie. So if we could get the choco pie.
We're just gonna magically let it appear in your hands, like so.
Whoa, choco pie!
And me too. Awesome.
So choco pie, a lot of times when people see this, they think moon pie, or someone on staff told me there's something similar in the Hispanic culture, which is so cool. But this is the Korean version of, I guess, moon pie, but it's basically a breaded chocolate exterior with a soft marshmallow interior. So it's kind of like a sandwich almost. So if we could open it up, I put these in the refrigerator. So if you're, or freezer, if you're a pro, you will put this in the freezer. So if you know, you know. So yeah, you just take it out and then you just take a bite.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It's soft and fluffy.
It's so fluffy!
I didn't expect that. I thought it was gonna be a little crunchy.
That's what people keep saying, but putting it in the freezer makes it a little more crunchy than normal.
So I'd just love to throw the question to you. What is it, or what was it like growing up in a Korean American home, and what did you love about that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, the food, obviously, and I'll talk more about that later once we get the main course here, but I just loved how Korean people gather around food. It's like a big part to our culture and a big part to gathering and a big connecting point. But in the same way, it's very family culture, and I feel like American culture is very punctual. So you have a set 1 hour, 2 hour meeting and then you're done. You have to get going. But then in Korean culture, you just linger. You just stay, when someone comes over, you're there the whole day, the whole night, just hanging out and doing life with each other. There's no rush. There's no cut times or set times, but it's the value of being with someone and living with them is very family and community oriented. And that's something that I love about Korean culture, is the fact that we just hang out and it's okay to just chill and you don't feel bad. You're just there in your family.
I love that, because what you just described in the Philippines is called Filipino time. You're expected to be late. You're expected to stay late as well. But I love that. So I know you mentioned, I love this, by the way, but I know you mentioned you had a second snack?
Yes, I do have a second snack. So the second snack is called this It's it has it in English, but if you read the Korean, it's 현미 조청. And so basically it's just like a honey rice snack. And so oh, looking at it. Oh, I need scissors. If I could have scissors to help me open this. Oh God.
Easy over.
Okay. Great. So we can put this over here, and then let me serve you just a few. Oh, that's a lot. Okay. So these are one of my personal favorites. Why I like it so much is because it's crispy and sweet. But yeah, if you want to take one,
okay.
It's gonna be crunchy. So.
Wow.
This is so good.
That's good too. Can I just be honorary Korean?
Yes, of course.
So this is fantastic. I love this. So let's move on to, I know you brought in a dish. Can you speak a little bit about that, and then we'll present it?
Yeah, so I brought bulgogi today, which means it's a Korean barbecue, and Korean barbecue is probably one of the most popularized in American culture, or in America, which is just like a marinated beef. And pul is like fire in Korean, and then gogi is meat. So it's like cooked meat, fired meat, and it's beef, and it's sweet, and it's really delicious. So this is bulgogi, and it comes with side dishes. So something I love about Korean food is that if you go to any restaurant and get Korean food, you always get side dishes. It's called banchan, which is little mini things, and it's an assortment of different vegetables, different sides to complement the main dish. And typically you will have some sort of meat side dish and then a soup. But today, no soup, but it's okay because we got bulgogi.
All right, let's dig in. And that's good. I gotta eat it with some rice.
Yes, you do. So kimchi is the most famous side dish in Korea. Some people say it's spicy, but I don't think so. The struggle is real. Yeah, so typically you would eat this with rice.
Had a little kick to it. I like that. Is there anything about Korean culture that you didn't enjoy growing up?
Yeah, I think more than Korean culture, being both Korean American was difficult. Because my parents are the ones that immigrated here to America, they didn't know a lot of English. And so there was a lot of pressure on me to learn English and to help my parents as a result. And so there was like a lot of burden and stress and pressure to be the person to kind of carry the family in that way, whether it's like filling out tax documents or figuring out how to apply for a job in America, like by myself through Google, or like I couldn't ask my parents how to help me with certain things that American-born people would have in their families. And so I think that was probably one of the most difficult parts. And then like people seeing me, it almost felt like Asians were the target a lot in jokes, whether it's because of our eyes and how they're shaped compared to other races, even like my parents being made fun of for their English or lack of English. And they worked like hardworking immigrant jobs, and so they didn't have the highest paying job or car or whatever, and so a lot of people will look down on us in that way. So in Korean culture, fruit is actually a very highly valued item. And so what Korean pears are also known as is Asian pear, or I think in America they call it apple pear, because the texture is like an apple. It's like a mixture, but it's like juicier than a American pear because it's not too sweet, but it's sweet enough to kind of satisfy that craving. Yeah, but it's healthy, so people eat all the time. So you could just
Thank you so much for
Wow.
the time. Thank you for sharing the amazing food. And thank you guys for checking out this video. Hey, don't forget to like this video and to subscribe to our channel. If you want to know more about Asian culture, if you want to know more about a church that celebrates differences, then you've come to the right channel. Well, we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.